you see the title, you see the thumbnail. I want to talk about this whole Kevin Durant situation. It got reported the other day. I'm actually gonna pull it up. This article from The Athletic. Shams tweeted this. How long ago was that? All right, so this is from The Atlantic. This article is from July 26th, which is literally just yesterday. Shams tweeted this, I want to say on the 25th. If you missed the tweet, let's just go over it real quick. Jaylen Brown finds himself at the center of his Celtics trade rumors. Again, legend, we're going to talk about it. Should the Celtics keep Jaylen? Should they try to make this trade? I have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm mixed. I want to hear what you guys have to say as well. But I just want to get the timeline down. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Let's get this timeline down. Jaylen Brown finds himself at the center of Celtics trade rumors once again. He's been in the center of Celtics trade rumors before. Jaylen Brown, for those of you who don't know, he's been in trade rumors before. He didn't necessarily get the max extension he wanted or was looking to get. So I could see at this point he might be feeling a little slighted from the Celtics. Apparently this trade offer happened a couple of weeks ago. Apparently a lot of reporters know about it. It's just now coming news though. So Boston offered Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a draft pick for Kevin Durant, which is below the Nets asking price. I'm reading this right here. This happened it was reported on Monday, but the offer happened weeks ago, at least from my understanding, right? It's not a surprise that Sean Marks turned it down. They want way more than that, especially after the Rudy Gobert trade. It's reported right here that the Nets countered with Jaylen Brown. Oh, can y'all see this? Is this too small? It looks too small for me. Let's do that for you. Oh, much better. Yeah. It's reported they countered with Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, multiple draft picks, and potentially another rotation player. From what I can see, that rotation player would probably be like Grant Williams. Jaylen Brown then tweets out the SMH tweet. I thought I saw him. I put it in a TikTok / short reel, whatever you want to call them. I put it out in a TikTok that I thought I saw him like a tweet saying that Celtics fans don't appreciate him. I haven't been able to find that tweet since. I think that might have been a Photoshop. Somebody got me. It's all right. But he did at least put out the SMH. Definitely probably a little bit of frustration, especially considering he, in most people's opinion, was the best player for the Celtics in this past finals. This is a team that just went to the NBA finals. He, by most people, was considered the best player in the finals. By some people, even like some of my boys who I hang out with on a regular basis, who I'm on Xbox all the time in the group chats, like my real life boys, a couple of them believe that Jaylen Brown's the better player out of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They believe that Jaylen Brown should be the one who's the number one, who should have the keys, who should have the green light to this team. Jaylen Brown's no slouch. I know Jason Tatum just got first team All-NBA, but the argument can be made if Jaylen Brown got the freedom that Jason Tatum got, or got the offense revolving around him as much as Jason Tatum does, that he could potentially be that first team as well. How you feel about them is neither here nor there. So the question has been swirling of basically at the end of the day, is this a good deal? Is this a smart move for the Celtics? Is this a good deal for the Nets? Like I said earlier, I'm mixed about it. This chat going crazy. I want to see what y'all got to say real quick, and then I'm a rant for a little bit. So I'm gonna get into this chat now because I have a lot of thoughts I want to get off my chest. Oh, Lex, you're a Nets fan? So now I'm very curious to see what you think about this, Lex. Do you think this is a good trade? Do you think, as a Nets fan, do you think that is a fair trade? Do you think you're getting what Kevin Durant would be worth if you got the Jaylen Brown, the Marcus Smart, a couple of picks, and probably a Grant Williams? Is that cool for you? I'm just curious. Legend says Rage is going to get better. I mean, Legend says Jaylen's going to get better. I don't disagree. I agree with that. Rage, in my opinion, Jaylen Brown is better than JT. He's more consistent, has a mama mentality. JT can try to imitate Kobe as much as he wants. It's funny, Rage. I literally just said my boys be saying, and it's not, I know a lot of people who think, I don't want to say think, who say Jaylen Brown's better than Jason Tatum. I'm still split. There are some days there's some days when I feel like Jaylen Brown is better. There's some days when I think Jason Tatum is better. I think Jaylen Brown has a better two-way game, and I think Jason Tatum is more talented offensively. I think, but in comparing them of tiers or levels of skill, they're very comparable in my mind. Leo, he's young and considering all the things he's done for the Celtics, kind of messed up. It's understandable. Nah, bro. It's just because JT played bad in the finals doesn't make Jaylen Brown better. A lot of people, Mad X was good. Thanks for pulling up. Jaylen should not be traded as a Celtics fan. I'm tired of the front office treating this dude terrible. A lot of people have been saying, I'll say misinterpreting what I've been saying or what some others have been saying when comparing Tatum and Brown. When people, at least the people I talk to, or if you ever hear me say it, I haven't said it yet, but if you ever hear me say Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum, I promise you it's not because of the finals. Yes, Jason Tatum didn't look as great as he normally does in those finals. Jaylen Brown was the best player on the Celtics roster in those finals, but that is not the only reason I would say Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum. Because you can also easily make the same argument that the Warriors defense was built around stopping Tatum first, and Brown was a second afterthought. So it's kind of the catch-22 of, yes, Jaylen Brown had the better series, but you could also make the argument that Jaylen Brown wasn't pressured as much as Jason Tatum was. Just, you know what I mean? Just playing some devil's advocate here. Serge, my man, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for pulling up to the stream tonight. Smart is a harder way to team, no way you trade him. I'm gonna talk about that as well. Hunter, Jaylen Brown is more consistent. It's understandable. Nav2K, that's a new name. Thanks for pulling up to the stream. I don't recognize that name. I appreciate you. Hunter, you should, 100% you should. Jaylen isn't going to resign since fans think Tatum is better. This trade proves it. He's going to win his own team. That's something to think about as well. No team could trade for KD without being a good deal for them and good deal for the team receiving KD. The Nets, it's fair. I think it's bad. I like KD, but he's looking like a bad boy. Jaylen needs to be a little more consistent and probably will be better in a year or two. Understandable, Surge. Jessica Sanborn, another new name in the stream. Appreciate you for pulling up. Ruins the franchise for the Celtics. It's too much? No? I haven't heard ruin. I've heard it's too much, but I haven't heard ruin. Jaylen is the better player currently, and KD is made by superstars like Curry, Russ, and Kyrie, but that's my opinion. Oof. Whew. Real GZ, thanks for pulling up to the stream. The fans say Tatum is better. I can see Jaylen wanting his own team. Fans only care about him because he was the best player in the finals. I used to live in Boston. I mean, that's a different way to look at it. I live in South Jersey. I'm really tapped in with the Boston fan culture. Right. So this is my thought process. You know what I mean? Bear with me here. I'm just going to talk about the counter offer. The first offer, genius idea from the Celtics. I'm just going to say this off the rip. Y'all can call me crazy. Y'all can hate on me, whatever. The first offer of Jaylen Brown, Derek White, where was it? Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and picks, and a pick, way too low. I'll admit that, way too low. I would have started with like Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Grant Williams, and picks. To me, that package, genius package. To me, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, that first package of Jaylen Brown, Derek White, if you add Grant Williams and some extra picks, that is the best trade package for both teams. Because every other package we talked about Suns, we've talked about Miami, every other package doesn't leave the team that KD goes to, in my mind, an automatic contender. If he goes to the Suns, that means Devin Booker's got to be involved. Now it's Kevin Durant, Mikal Bridges, old Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. I don't love it. I'll be real. If he goes to the Miami Heat, they can't even include Bam because of the rookie extensions. So it'd be like Kevin Durant, Bam. It would have to probably include Jimmy. It would have to include Tyler Hero. I don't love that either. The Celtics situation, talking about the first trade here, if they got rid, if they came and got rid of Derek White, they would still have Smart. They would still have Tatum. They'd still have Grant Williams. They'd still have Malcolm Brogdon. They'd still have Danilo Gallinari. I think it was a very smart trade for the Celtics to at least offer. Call me crazy, say I'm undervaluing Jaylen Brown. I think it's the right trade for the Celtics. Now let's talk about the reported counteroffer, because I was cool with it until they included Marcus Smart. And this is why. On one hand, I'm like, okay, y'all want Marcus Smart? Honestly, it sounds crazy, but you can have him. Because we picked up Malcolm Brogdon. Now I know Malcolm Brogdon's coming off an injury. It's a big risk. It's a big what if. But when it comes to making trades to try to win a championship, a lot of it is risk. A lot of it is what ifs. People make trades, all the teams make trades all the time to try to build a championship contending team. And injuries happen, things happen, it might not work. It's not easy to win a championship. There's risk involved in going for a championship. If it wasn't risky, everybody would be able to do it. I don't think it's a bad trade. I'll be honest, bro. I don't think it's a bad trade. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, multiple picks, add Grant Williams. Is it a risk? Yes. Is there opportunity there or a risk there that Kevin Durant looks like Kevin Durant against the Celtics in the first round? I mean, potentially. But if you let Marcus Smart go, you still have Malcolm Brogdon. I know he's coming off of injury. I know he's low-key injury prone. But if he can have a healthy season, a lot of it is ifs. A lot of it is ifs. But if I'm the Celtics, this is what you're thinking. If you're Brad Stevens, you got to be willing to play a little bit. Because otherwise you say, okay, well, we got to the finals. Let's just run it back next year. We'll get there again. Well, the Miami Heat haven't gotten back. I'm not calling the Miami Heat bad by any means. I'm not calling the Miami Heat bad. But the Miami Heat were in the finals of 2020. And they haven't been there back. It's not easy to get to the finals. It's not a walk in the park to get to the finals. You know what I'm saying? You have to try to do something to make your team better. I don't know if this makes the Celtics title automatic champions. I don't think anything other than Kevin Durant joining the freaking Clippers and they somehow still keep Paul George and Kawhi is the only thing that makes a team an automatic contender or automatic champions, excuse me. But it definitely makes them, I think that trade would make them better. Now it'd be risky. Do you lose a lot of defense by losing Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown? Yes. Do you gain a whole lot of offense by adding Kevin Durant? Also, yes. You give Jason Tatum now the opportunity. We saw how well Jason Tatum can play when he's the focal point of a team's defense. How better could he be if he's the second guy the defense is worried about because they're worried about Kevin Durant? Malcolm Brogdon would only have to be the third, potentially fourth option for that team. Now it does make you not as deep. I was looking forward to the depth that they were picking up by adding Malcolm Brogdon, by adding Danilo Gallinari, because I thought those two guys would be able to come off the bench and do a lot for them. Malcolm Brogdon would probably have to start if you don't have Marcus Smart. If you get rid of Grant Williams, I mean, Gallinari is getting a lot more minutes and you're probably struggling in some on defense. So the defense might not be as good. But Ime Udoka is still an amazing defensive head coach. So some of those concepts would still be there. You'd still have you still have Robert Williams, Time Lord, and the paint, who, in my opinion, if he never got injured, he would have been Defensive Player of the Year, not Marcus Smart. And then if you're the Nets, this is probably the best trade you're going to get, because you get a guy who, by most people's accounts, mine too, I would love to see him get the opportunity to be the number one. I don't know if he'll thrive. I don't know if he'll soar and become this multiple-time All-Star, potential All-NBA guy. I don't know if that's in Jaylen Brown's future. But you'd be getting about Jaylen Brown, you'd be getting at Marcus Smart. I think on that trade, this trade is the best Kevin Durant trade I've heard out of all the trades for both sides. Usually it's pretty one-sided. Most of these trades have been very one-sided. I think the Celtics is just a team that has enough pieces that they don't have to give up their best guy. And I put it on quotation marks because you might think Jaylen Brown is the best guy. That's cool with me if you do. But this is the one trade, the one proposed Nets trade I feel like that didn't completely gut the team that's getting KD. I'm not mad at this trade, y'all. We'll see if it happens. We'll see if they tweak it a little bit. We'll see if the Celtics come back with another offer. But I'm not mad at it. The biggest thing I think they would miss would be Marcus Smart. Because let's be real, I love Jaylen Brown's two-way ability, but Kevin Durant washes Jaylen Brown in terms of probably what he brings to the court. So they would kind of sort of cancel each other's out. You're not going to miss Jaylen Brown. You're going to miss a little bit of that defense for sure, but you're not going to miss his offensive Kevin Durant's on your team. Marcus Smart, you're going to miss his defense, but to me, the biggest missing piece, if you do trade Marcus Smart as a part of this, would be his leadership. Marcus Smart, to me, was the heart and soul of this team. He was the vocal leader. He was the defensive anchor on the perimeter. He was the guy who always saw talking to his teammates and making sure everybody was involved, making sure everybody was playing well. And call me crazy, when they made him point guard, it was the best this team has looked through all of the point guards they've had. Through the Kyrie saga, through when they had Terry Rozier for some time at point guard, when they had Kemba some time at point guard, when they had Dennis Schroeder sometimes at point guard. To me, the teams looked the best with Smart at the helm. Now you can also say, well, that's because potentially Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are also years older compared to those other years. The team around them is better compared to those other years. I get that as well. But I saw a noticeable difference in this team when in the beginning of the year when they were playing Schroeder a lot, then towards that January switch when they won that crazy run and became one of the best teams in basketball in the new year when they started running Marcus Smart at point. So they are going to miss Marcus Smart. I don't know how much faith the Celtics have in Malcolm Brogdon. I think that's a big piece of potentially why they denied that trade, because maybe they don't have the faith in Malcolm Brogdon. They don't want to give up Marcus Smart, which is understandable. I'm just saying I don't think it's that crazy of a trade. What are y'all saying in here? Y'all is lit today. I appreciate y'all for pulling up, for real, for real, for real, for real. All right, let's see what I'm talking about. Jessica says you need to keep both. Rage says, let's not forget about the Raptors. We'll get to that in a second. I agree, Rage. The team should stay JT and JB. They're the guys like Kobe, Shaq type thing. They're both the guy, kind of, sort of. The Raptors can just play Scotty and it's done. No. It's not just done if you just played Scotty. Barnes? Rage. I haven't looked. Let me see. Raptors, Kevin Durant trade. I just want to see what people are. What's what I'm looking for? Like, what package are people saying is put together? This is from. I know I said I was gonna look at the comments, but Rage threw me off. This is from July 3rd from Bleacher Report. The Raptors are fixed on keeping Scotty Barnes out of trade packages. The Raptors are in the mix to acquire KD, which you already know. They've remained fixed. Let me do this so y'all can read this along with me. There we go. They've remained fixed on keeping rookie of the year Scotty Barnes out of any package offerings. Understandable. Toronto could still be in the mix thanks to other strong assets. I'm just curious what they're thinking. OG, Gary Trent would headline a package that makes sense. They all have all of their first round picks going forward, only the second round in 2024. Durant, Barnes, Fred VanVleet, and whoever's left after the trade. So they're saying you can actually include Siakam in this. That'd be crazy to me. I've heard a lot of people say the Raptors, and I get it. Yes, you have OG, you have Gary, but I guess you would have to include Pascal to make the money work, because KD makes way too much to just be Scotty. I saw Rage say just include Scotty and it's done, but that thing is deeper than that. Raptors best package that they've offered. Pimp name Slickback. Thank you for pulling up to the stream. That's the new name. I appreciate you. I've been trying to point out the new names. Surge, is Kyrie staying? That's also the question. We're going to talk about that in a second. Even the Timberwolves can keep. See, that's the thing. All right. Great point, Rage. There's a lot of teams who can get Kevin Durant if they wanted. The Memphis Grizzlies can put together an amazing package if they want it. They have all their picks. They can include like Jaren Jackson Jr., throw in potentially like Desmond Bank. Like they can, it's a lot of teams that can go get Kevin Durant. I think there's a fear amongst other GMs to give up too much for them because they potentially may be worried if he doesn't want to be there, what stops him from asking for a trade again in another year and a half, another 2 years. So I get that quote unquote fear, because also Rage, I see you said the Timberwolves. What world do the Timberwolves get KD considering they just traded a whole bunch of picks and players for Rudy? I don't know how to get KD. That's just me spitballing. Memphis, that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of teams that can get KD. Like I said, the Memphis example, Maddox, you just mentioned it. I don't see the Grizz doing it. They're good. I'm saying I don't see them doing it either. But my point is there are a lot of teams who could try to put a package together. There are a lot of teams who have a ton of picks and have some young prospects who can potentially do something. But if you're not a team who, once you have Kevin Durant, is immediately at least the top 4 team in your conference, you get the conversation of, well, why would he stay there? I think that's what some people's, GMs or teams, front offices, even fan bases' minds is, yeah, my team, quote unquote, could potentially trade for KD, but if we're not a top 4 team with him, there's no point cat and ant with a team the Nets would want. Then that's not a trade. There's no way the Timberwolves do that. That's my point. Yes, so there are technically trades out there for Kevin Durant. But to me, this Celtics trade is the best one I've seen. The biggest factor for me isn't Jaylen Brown being put in the trade. Call me crazy. It's Marcus Smart being put in the trade. The only thing I'm iffy on is losing Marcus Smart. I'm not iffy on losing Jaylen Brown. You can call me a hater. You can say what you want, but it's Kevin Durant we're talking about. And I get it. He is coming over Jessica. But Smart on the court, you can keep Jaylen and we're probably emerging superstar. This is what I was thinking earlier, and I know I'm rambling a little bit all over the place. Y'all gotta bear with me. It's been a couple of weeks. The notes are sparse because I just have thoughts and passion today. I saw a lot of, and I know, I get it. Jessica, you said it. A couple of y'all in the comments said it. I've seen it on Twitter a lot and on TikTok. And like I said, y'all might be Marcus Smart and Jaylen for the KD is not worth it. House of Ball, thanks for posting the stream. That's the new name. To me, it is worth it. Let me rephrase. To me, the only thing that makes it iffy is Marcus Smart. Keeping a spade a spade. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both amazing players. I think they both have the ability to make many all-star teams in their future. They've already had some success as a young core. They've been to multiple conference finals. They just were in the NBA finals last year. So they have a beautiful young core. But sometimes a beautiful young core isn't enough. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Look at my Thunder. My Thunder, 2012, we're in the NBA finals. We don't get close after that. We don't get close after that. We never go back. We lose James Harden. We eventually lose KD. We lose Russ. And now the Thunder, I mean, I still love them. They're a great, exciting team to watch. But my point is, so many people are harping on the idea of we can't lose JT. We can't lose Jaylen Brown. We can't lose Jaylen Brown. We can't lose Jaylen Brown. For me personally, I don't think it's that crazy to let Jaylen Brown go for an opportunity to try to get a top 5 guy in the league. Because you can say what you want about Kevin Durant's performance in these playoffs. You can say what you want about Kevin Durant's fortitude of now demanding a trade after getting everything he wants for a team. And I think there is something to be said about that. Why the Thunder, man? You could have said, Serge, I get it. They just the first team that came to mind. I get that, Serge. And yeah, they did already say no. But in the world of negotiations, I think there's a world where, or I think there's a opportunity still there until the day Kevin Durant's traded for the Nets to come back and be like, you know what? I mean, for the Celtics to come back and be like, you know what? We'll take that. Because winning the championship isn't easy. Dynasties aren't created overnight. Their dynasties don't just come around all the time. It's rare teams don't rattle off multiple championships all the time. I know we saw it with the Warriors, so maybe people think that's normal, but it's not. That Warrior situation when Kevin Durant joined that team was a once in probably a lifetime scenario. And then the rest of that, they just drafted well. So you can say there's potential. We're going to get to that too, Rage. There's potential, I guess, for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to turn into superstars and to potentially win the Celtics the championship. But I think there's also an argument made for you trade for Kevin Durant and you're in championship conversations immediately next year. That's all I'm saying. Because like I said earlier, when Kevin Durant was on the floor this past season before his injury, he literally looked like top 5 in the league. He looked like, to me, and outside of Giannis, at one point in the season, you probably had to scroll back far to find the video, but KD was my MVP probably around February because that's how great he looked. If he can do that, and I think he has a better team, to have a pretty good team around him in the Celtics, I don't know. But I've said before, and I'll say it again, and then we'll move on because I feel like I done spent 20 minutes talking about this. I want Kevin Durant to stay in Brooklyn. I've said that countless times. I want him to stay in Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's the best spot for Kevin Durant to be. I think there's, with the team, now it's got some ifs. The first if is, will Kyrie play all season? If Kyrie can play all season, if Ben Simmons is healthy and can play all season, Joe Harris comes back and continues to be one of the best shooters in the league. You got Royce O'Neal, who's a solid defender. Nick Claxton will have another year left under his belt and a little bit more experience. I truly think the best place for Kevin Durant to have an opportunity to win a championship is literally to stay with the Brooklyn Nets. I think that's the best scenario for him. So if he wants to try to win a championship, just stay on the Nets. Because anywhere else, I mean, I think Jessica said it earlier, whatever else you get traded to, that team's gonna be gutted to make it work. That's all. All right, let's move on. I'm tired of talking about KD.